The Dodgers look unstoppable. They're 5-0 to start the season. I have everything you need to know about Roki Sasaki and why everyone needs to relax on the Japanese Phenom's first 2 starts. We got 10 big takeaways from the Dodgers' first week at home. All that more coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball. Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball. The Dodgers are building a dynasty.
You guys wanted a parade? We got a parade! The Dodgers punch back and head to the championship series.
Ohtani starts the 50-50 clock. Mookie magic. Freeman hits the ball to right field. She is gone! Start the party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers show and podcast on YouTube. My name is Doug McKain, credentialed member of Dodgers Media. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. Now, if you haven't yet, do us a huge favor. Subscribe to the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. Hit the like button. Also, drop your comments down below. I asked you guys over on the X for the Dodgers Dugout Live poll question of the show, what is your concern level for Roki Sasaki after his first 2 big league starts? And right now, 4% say very, 20% say a little, 40% say he's fine, and 36% say they're not concerned at all. So let me know down below, what is your takeaway on Roki Sasaki's start? Are you concerned? Also, what is your biggest takeaway from the first week of Dodger baseball at Dodger Stadium? Also, do me a huge favor. Subscribe to our new Discord channel. The Discord channel is blowing up, thousands of members, and we have our Dodgers Nation Discord VIP access. It's $6.99. You get behind-the-scenes content. You're going to get lineups, quotes, things from Doc's press conference before it hits Twitter. So definitely be sure to subscribe to the Discord channel, and do me the biggest favor, subscribe to The Big Lead, which is my new YouTube show, my new YouTube channel that's focused on all things in sports, the hottest stories in sports in less than an hour. But we've got so much to get into, so let's get right into it. Here is the leadoff.
Leading off, the hottest story in Dodger baseball.
Now, the hottest story in Dodger baseball is not that the team has gone 5-0 and looks unstoppable. They look like a team that's ready to repeat. It is about the Dodgers' Japanese rookie phenom pitcher, Roki Sasaki, who has not looked like the pitcher that everyone thought he was going to look like early on. He hasn't looked like that Rookie of the Year, which I've dubbed him. He hasn't looked like that yet. He had his second start of his big league career, his first start at Dodger Stadium in his career, and things did not go well for Roki. There's no way to sugarcoat it. He wasn't able to get out of the second inning. He went just an inning and 2/3, gave up 2 runs on 3 hits, had more walks 4 than strikeouts 2, ended up needing 61 pitches just to get 5 outs. And I'm going to tell you, first of all, what is going on with Roki, why he hasn't had that success, why he hasn't looked like that elite phenom Dodgers version of Paul Skeens like I promised you that he was going to look like at some point. Well, first and foremost, he's struggling with command. And the command has just not been there for Roki Sasaki. Through his first couple of starts, he has gone 117 pitches to throw 4 2/3 innings. That's not good. You can't live like that. 117 pitches for 4 2/3. Now, I will say that, yes, the walks have been just ridiculously high. There's no doubt about that. The walks have been off the charts. You can't have more walks than strikeouts. And he has 9 walks to 4 strikeouts. And the walk rate is through the roof, right? 34.6% with the Dodgers. But the first thing I will say is that Roki Sasaki is someone that has never had real command issues throughout his career. In 2022 with the Chibalote Marines, had a 4.7 walk rate. 2023, a 4.9% walk rate. That's when he was at its best. Even last year, he had a 7.1% walk rate. All of those are below league average as far as being a good pitcher when it comes to having your command. Now, other thing to consider too, he faced 27 batters during spring training. He walked just 3 of those batters. So the main issue for Roki Sasaki is the fact that he's having command issues, is the fact that he's not throwing strikes. But the good news is this has not been a problem for Roki throughout his career, when he was in the NPB and early on in spring training. And yes, he is adjusting to a new ball. The ball in Major League Baseball, it's a little bigger. It's not as tacky as the one you have in the NBB. The NPB ball plays a little differently too, and you're also facing better hitters. So I do think that he's going to adjust. It's not the baseball, it's the nerves. It's him calming down, being Roki Sasaki, trusting his stuff, trusting his mechanics. But I think the first thing you need to know is that the number one reason why he's not having success is the command. And that is an area where he's been really good at throughout his career, even early on in spring training with the Dodgers. So here was Roki Sasaki after the game, talking about his second start, how he felt about it, how he assessed it, and what it looks like moving forward.
技術的なところで、コントロールしきれなかったというか、はい、本当にストレートもフォークも、スライダーがかろうじて少し良かったぐらいで、それ以外は本当に全体的にスピードもコントロールも良くなかったかなと思います。
Yeah, overall, I didn't feel like I had a great feel for my mechanics. My slider felt pretty good, but my fastball split, velo-wise, command-wise, wasn't there. Yeah, I felt like I was able to get into the game pretty well without any nerves. Just didn't feel like I had the stuff today.
That's an accurate assessment of how his performance went, how his outing went, is that from a stuff perspective, the movement profiles on that splitter, he has to throw it for strikes. He has to throw fastballs for strikes to set it up, because big league hitters will spit on that pitch no matter how much movement he has. And then he also mentioned the velocity. So if there's one thing that would give you some level of concern, it would be the velocity drop from his first start to his second start. He threw the four-seam fastball 33 times. He averaged 96.1 miles per hour on his fastball. That was down a tick from his first start, and he only topped out at 96.9 miles per hour. So if you remember his first start, we saw triple digits. We saw him going up there in velocity. So that was the big thing for Roki when he was looking for a team to sign with. He gave teams a homework assignment. He said, look, the velocity was down last year. How do we get the velo back to where it was? The Dodgers, they aced that homework assignment. He felt good about it. And from what I've heard, it's a mechanical thing for Roki, is making sure the mechanics are synced up. And when they are, the four-seam fastball plays. And I think it will. It's just this start, he's saying the nerves weren't an issue. I think that, look, you're pitching at, Will Smith said it after the game, you're pitching at Dodger Stadium. You got 4 decks of fans. You've got the entire world watching because Japan's tuning in. Dodgers fans at Dodger Stadium are there, and he's facing that for the first time. And sometimes if you don't get off to a good start as a young pitcher, things can speed up on you very quickly. And I think the game sped up on Roki Sasaki. The first inning alone, he loaded the count full 4 times. 4 times. And then he also had a nice punch out. He struck out Riley Green for the first out. It was his first strikeout at Dodger Stadium. Then the second inning, he started the command issues again. He walked another 2 hitters. He threw 20 pitches. Then Dave Roberts came out and took the ball away from him. So look, the stuff has flashed for sure. He's made just 2 starts, and he started 2 of the Dodgers' 5 games. Has not looked like Roki Sasaki that he was billed to be. But what I want to talk about next is how he needs to adjust to accepting this reality that he does not have to put all this pressure on him. This clip went viral of Roki Sasaki in the Dodgers dugout showing some emotion. People are saying that he was crying. And yes, like Jimmy Dugan said in for the league of their own. There's no crying in baseball. He's not crying here, right? He's not crying, but clearly he's emotional. Clearly he's feeling some type of way with how his performance went. And I don't think he was crying. I think he was emotional. And I'm here to tell you that if he was, I absolutely love that. I love the fact that he wants it that bad, right? Look at another Los Angeles sports legend, Kobe Bryant. When you look at his career arc, his was different than Michael Jordan's, right? MJ hit the game winner in the NCAA tournament with North Carolina. He hit the shot over Kevin Elo early in his career. He's had big moments early on. When we talk about Kobe Bryant, it's I wasn't ready to shoot those shots against Utah. I airballed those shots, but at least I took those shots anyway. And now it's, Kobe, 5-time champion, Mamba mentality. He's the guy you want with the ball in your hands with a game on the line. Roki Sasaki, in his mind, feels like he has the potential and the talent to be the best pitcher on the planet. And he wants it so bad that I think that sometimes it's tough for young players that have so much talent to just embrace the process of going through the learning curve of becoming a pitcher in this league. And I think for Roki, I think these 2 starts are going to be good for him in the long run because they're going to allow him to embrace that process of going out and throwing bullpens, making some adjustments on the fly. No, you're not going to win the Cy Young in March of your first season in the show. That's not possible. So for anyone that's saying this is bad that he's doing this, I love it. It shows you how much he cares, shows you how much he wants to be great. That is what is in him. And then I think he's with the perfect organization to be going through this. I said this all off season. The reason why the Dodgers made the most sense is you have other Japanese players that he can lean on. Shohei Ohtani, the only guy on the planet that can really talk to him about what he's been going through. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who went through it last season. And then guess what? The Dodgers had Roki Sasaki, who did not pitch well in 2 of their 5 games, yet they're 5-0. So they don't need him to be great for them to be a great team. And I think that takes less pressure off of him. That should take pressure off Roki Sasaki in knowing that. Then you got Dave Roberts, a guy that's going to put his arm around him and give him some love and give him all the confidence that he needs. Great coaching. Mark Pryor, Connor McGinnis, all of the Dodgers pitching analytics departments, they are going to do what it takes to optimize him, and he's in great hands. So I'm not upset about this. I'm not overly shocked by this because let's not forget, let me just say this louder for the people in the back. He has pitched 11 2/3 innings at the big league level, spring training and regular season combined. Can we give this guy 5 or 10 starts? People do realize that Fernando Mania was a year after he had already pitched in Major League Baseball, right? Let's not forget that he's making his adjustment to a new country, a new team, a new league, a lot of expectations. He is going to be just fine. He's still going to be the Rookie of the Year. Things are going to click for him. And here was Roki also talking about just where he's at right now and the next steps for him.
練習できても試合の強度になった時にうまくいかなかったりだとか、そういうところもあるので、日々新しい課題がどんどん出てくるので、そこに向き合って、やっていくしかないかなと思ってます。
Yeah, there's been good times and bad times in terms of the mechanical things, and I think there's some things that came up during the outings. So every day has been a challenge in terms of being able to tackle what I should tackle.
23 years old, tons of raw talent. He's an unfinished product. We had Jose Mota say this on the show multiple times this offseason. He wasn't that turnkey level starter that Yoshinobu Yamamoto is and was, right? He was going to take some time to mold him a little bit, but the ceiling's still incredibly high. He's still going to have a job for this team for a long, long time. And I will tell you, just from speaking to people within this organization, that there was a conversation about how do we start his career? Do we start it down in AAA? Do we start it in the show? Well, the truth is, he needs to face big league hitters because that's going to determine whether or not he's going to have success. He's not going to be able to deal with the nerves better It's still going to be pitching in big league parks. It's going to have to be facing bigger hitters and big league talented hitters. I still like the idea that he started in the show, but there was a conversation about it, and I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that when you recruit him, you want to recruit him knowing that, hey, you're going to get your chance against the game's best, and you're going to pitch in Tokyo. I think that was a factor as well, but I just want to say that I am keeping receipts as long as CVS receipts for anyone out there that's ready to call him a bust, that says that he is this lemon of a pitcher that's not going to have success and be effective in the show after just 2 starts. Those are the same people. I've got my 10 big takeaways from the Dodgers' first week of action at Dodger Stadium. We have a player down at the minor league level that has already gotten off to a good start that could factor in for the Dodgers later in the year. That's coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live. What up, Dodgers Nation? D-Mac here to remind you that if you have not yet, be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Dugout Live podcast. You can find it wherever you get your podcast. So if you want to listen to the show in audio form, when you're driving to Dodger Stadium, when you're driving from Dodger Stadium, when you're commuting to work, wherever it is, you definitely want to lock into the podcast. We're going to start featuring some podcast exclusives, interviews. So definitely, even if you do watch the show daily on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Dugout Live podcast wherever your podcast. So be sure to do that. It really supports the channel. And as always, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out. And welcome back to Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers show and podcast on YouTube. Got some super chats to get into. Got Dino's 5150, $9.99 still Roki of the year. Love that one. Yeah, I mean, look, don't sell your stock, man. Roki of the year is still going to be a thing. And we're going to have some t-shirts, by the way. So wait for that. Those are looking good. Also comment Roki of the year. So you have a chance to win the Roki Sasaki jersey that we should really set up that giveaway for the end of the week. But we're still taking more submissions. But first week of action. I love doing this. Every Monday, we do a Dodgers Rewind. It's our 10 big takeaways from the Dodgers week that was. So let's get into it.
Dodgers Rewind. 10 big takeaways.
So the first big takeaway is this Dodgers team looks absolutely unstoppable, even though their starters aren't going deep into games, even though their best relievers haven't been at their best, even though their offense, is relying heavily on home runs in a lot of different ways. They still look like a team that has a chance to win 100 to 120 games, and they're going to be in a great position, barring health, to defend their title and be the first team to go back-to-back since the 2000 Yankees. The Dodgers, they swept the Tigers. They've gone 5-0 on the year. They beat the Cubs twice in Tokyo. They beat the Tigers 3 times. They've started 5-0. It was their first time they've started the season 5-0 since 1981. And in 1981, they started 6-0. They beat the Yankees in the World Series. And now the question is, do the 2025 Dodgers set the all-time record for best start of a year in franchise history? The record right now is the 1955 Brooklyn Dodgers, who started 10-0. So they're 5-0. So if they sweep the Braves, who are 0-4 on the year, and then they win a couple in Philly, which is not going to be easy, then they could tie that record. It's highly unlikely, but this team does have the talent to do it. The 1955 Brooklyn Dodgers went 10-0. The 1940 Brooklyn Dodgers went 9-0. 81 Dodgers 6-0. 52 Brooklyn Dodgers 5-0, and then the 2025 Dodgers 5-0. And other interesting thing about this team is they've trailed in every game. Every game they've trailed. So you've had big hits. Teoscar on opening day gets the big home run. Shohei gets the big home run on domestic opening day. Mookie Betts gets the walk-off. Tommy Edman, Will Smith. You've had big boppers for the Dodgers, and they've held their opponent in clutch situations to a very low number. Over the weekend, the Tigers went a combined 4-32 with runners in scoring position. 4-32. They hit 126 in those situations. So the pitchers have been nails. The offense has stepped up. There's just a magic to this team at Chavez Ravine, knowing the kind of talent that they have. So this team, hot start with a chance to go 10-0. I don't know if I'm ready to go 10-0. I'm not sure if I'm ready to go 10-0, but let me know down below, what will this Dodgers record be after 10 games? I'll say conservatively 8-2. I'll go 8-2. 8-2, and you'll definitely take that. Okay, next big takeaway. Got to talk about my man, Mookie Betts. Marcus Lynn Betts, who had been dealing with a health issue. He had dropped a lot of weight, had the norovirus, was not holding down food. Every time he would eat something, he would throw up. He had the worst flights ever to Tokyo and back from Tokyo. There were questions whether he was going to start the year with the team. He lost 18 pounds, missed the first games in Tokyo, and then he missed the 2 exhibition games in the Freeway Series, but he played in 2 games this weekend for the Dodgers, and he was outstanding. He was great. He led the team with 4 hits, scored 2 runs, and had a walk-off shot that gave the Dodgers the win on Friday night.
Betts golfs one left field and turns out the lights. He rings the bell with a 3-run walk-off home run.
Mookie Betts does Mookie Betts things. 30th home run, 30th multi-home run game in his career. His 14th with the Dodgers. I mean, think about that. Missed so much time, leads the team in hits, runs, RBIs, home runs against the Tigers, despite playing just 2 of those 3 games. That's how good Mookie Betts is. And the interesting thing after the game was hearing Mookie open up, hearing him talk about this. Because don't kid yourself, even someone like Mookie, who's going to the Hall of Fame one day, who is a perennial MVP candidate, to lose a lot of weight like that and be that sick heading into a season, you don't love that. You hate that as a player, just because he was someone that needed to have a good start to this year defensively, knowing he had put in so much work at the shortstop spot, but he comes up with a big home run, 2 home runs in that game, and then gets a big walk-off shot at the end. I'm telling you, Dodger Stadium was rocking, man. That place was loud. That place could feel something coming. And I think no one will talk about this, but how about my guy with Michael Conforto? He got the ground rule double early on in the bottom of the 10th to make it a 5-4 game. A couple batters later, Will Smith, he singled to left to score Conforto to tie things up at 5. Then Shohei Ohtani, everyone thought he was going to get the home run. He ends up hitting a single to right. Smith was at third. And then Mookie, he gets the Betts blast. And it was a great piece of hitting, too. It was a 3-2 pitch, fouled off 2 pitches, then took a changeup down the zone, and boom, Mookie living his Betts life, puts the Dodgers up and gives them the win with the walk-off home run. After the game, Mookie talked about the emotions. If you saw him rounding the bases, he was screaming, showing that Mookie emotion. And here was Mookie after the game talking about what that moment meant for him.
Just using my skill set, put the bat on the ball. Didn't really matter where they went at that point. Shohei got to second, so the pressure was kind of off. You know, we were going to get another bat with Freddie there. We all know what Freddie does in those type of situations. So it was really just kind of a relax. And if you do, cool. If you don't, that's okay. We got Freddie behind you, but do what it takes to get the job done. Yeah, that was super special. Just more. I know it sounds super selfish, but I'm just more for me, man. I was really proud of myself for coming in and playing underweight, and not that it's a big deal to playing underweight, but just the fight that I've kind of been through, the ups and downs, the nights where I'm just, crying because I'm sick, and, my wife there and just kind of holding me, and so that's really where that emotion kind of comes from. And then obviously winning for the boys, that's where the rest of it.
So just listen to what he had to say right there. I mean, moments where he's crying and he's sick and his wife is the one holding him. I mean, I think that what Mookie went through was a little more significant than people realized. And then Mookie talked about just the weight loss and getting the weight back up. He lost 18 pounds. He said he's back up to 165, up from 157, but he's down from the 175 that he typically plays at. Here's Mookie talking about the weight loss, how he's gaining it back, and also one of the best flexes that you'll hear from a player about how his life is. Here's about the weight loss.
I'm at 165 now, so I need another 7 or 8 pounds will help me a lot, but 10 would be ideal. Keep eating, just eat all day, and that's pretty much it. My chef, both of them are doing enough cooking. Got guys here. I'm eating during the game, and so we're doing what it takes.
So I love that. 2 chefs, not one, just casually throwing out the fact that he has 2 chefs. I wonder what Mookie Betts is eating, because I know he's going to be eating good because he's already eaten at the plate. So it's great to see Mookie healthy. It's great to see Mookie not being talked about for what he's been doing at shortstop. And I think for me, what I'm really hoping to see from Mookie Betts this year in 2025 is, one, average shortstop. We talked about that all offseason. But I do want to see the slugging percentage go up to where we saw it a couple of seasons ago. In 2022, had a .533 slug, hit 35 home runs. 2023, a .579 slug, hit a career-high 39 home runs. Last year, he did miss significant time, missed almost 2 months due to breaking his hand, but that slugging went from .579 down to .491, hit 19 home runs. So I want to see Mookie in that 500 range with his slugging, and a guy that's hitting 2 home runs in a game. You got to feel good about that start. So Mookie, Mr. 2-Chef Mookie. I hope that I have that problem one day where I'm talking about 2 chefs. Mookie damn near has his own restaurant at his house at this point. So that's great to see. Next big takeaway is this could be the best offense in Dodgers history because of how prolific they have been at the plate with the home runs, with the ability to hit long balls. The Dodgers against the Tigers, they scored 20 runs. They averaged 6.67 runs per game. They've had 3 homers in each of their last 4 games. 3 home runs in each of the last 4 games. It's only the 6th time in franchise history that they've had a streak like that. The longest streak of at least 3 home runs in a game was 5 back in 2019. So if you have 3 home runs tonight, you could tie that. And another thing to look at too is their motto has been my motto. If you want the dub, you've got to slug, because that's how they've been winning. Because if you look at the opportunities, they've only had 15 opportunities to hit with runners in scoring position. The Dodgers went 6 for 15 with runners in scoring position. You compare that to the Tigers, that's less than half. The Tigers had 32 opportunities with runners in scoring position. The Dodgers just 15, but the Dodgers, they made the most of those opportunities. They hit 400. They had 3 doubles, an intentional walk to Ohtani, a hit batter, the blast by Teo and Mookie. So they're living by the long ball. That does typically catch up with you. But at this point, early on the season, you'll take it. Hit those bombs. They've been doing it every night at the Ravine. Next big takeaway, Tommy Edman. I think Tommy Edman could be an all-star. In fact, I think Tommy Edman will be an all-star this season. Edman went 1 for 3 with a solo blast against the Tigers in their 7-3 win on Saturday. And he is on this slugging tear to start the year. He already has 3 home runs in 5 games. He's shown a lot of power early on in the season. And this is a guy that has never had that element of his game typically. The most home runs that Tommy Edman has ever hit in a season was 13. 13 home runs, but he did hit 6 last year with the Dodgers in just 37 games. You saw him hit multiple home runs in the postseason, the NLCS, and the World Series. So I asked Tommy Edman a couple weeks ago in Tokyo just about the home runs and the uptick in his slug. Well, he said that he has flattened out his bat path, that his swing is more direct, and that he's unlocked some things since joining the Dodgers. And you're seeing an approach where it's a clean, quick swing. He's got more power. That's what we call him, Tommy Tanks. And I think he's going to hit 20 home runs or more this season while playing elite defense at multiple positions. And that alone should put him in the all-star game in and of itself. So Tommy Tanks, an all-star with the Dodgers. You love to see it. Another thing, too, those home runs we saw, he's got one from the left side. He's got the right side, too. So he's hitting home runs from both sides of the plate. Next big takeaway. The Dodgers are still 5-0. The starters aren't going deep into games. Snell and Yamamoto went 5 innings. Roki was only able to get 5 outs, couldn't get out of 2 innings. The Dodgers starters combined to pitch 11 2/3 innings in 3 games. So it's early on the season. This is normal. You're not going to see tons and tons of innings 8, 9 inning starts from starters. That's just not how it goes. But I think Yamamoto can be more efficient. Blake Snell can be more efficient. I think Tyler Glasnow is going to have the longest start of the season for the Dodgers tonight. I see him going at least 6 innings against the Braves. He's had a lot of rest. He's ready to go. But that's a strategy that's not going to work for an entire season. If you have a 6-man rotation, you need guys to go deeper into games. Yes, when Ohtani comes back, you got the Ohtani rule, and the Dodgers have a 5-man right now with the days off. But I think that you need to see some more efficiency from the starters at some point, but still, it's very early. They have had a offseason that's been exciting. Winning a World Series and having to compartmentalize all this stuff, as Freddie Freeman was saying, I think is very, very important, right? I mean, this team could be flat, and just be honest, they could be flat exhausted right now. I've talked to a lot of the players. They're still getting through their jet lag as well. They're still getting through the emotional highs of an offseason, yet they're still going 5-0 to start the year. Okay, next big takeaway. Don't stop relieving. The Dodgers relievers have looked excellent. They've really put this team on their back early on. You had 6 relievers to get the final 22 outs on Saturday, stepping up after Roki's short start. The Dodgers had 11 strikeouts from their relievers and no walks in 7 2/3 innings. They allowed just 1 run, and that was Luis Garcia on the mound, someone who's not going to factor in heavily for this team down the stretch when everyone gets healthy. And the biggest takeaway for me when I'm looking at this relieving core is the swing and miss, is the ability to go out there and get punch outs. The Dodgers have struck out their opponents out of the bullpen at a 37.5% clip, 24 strikeouts to just 5 walks. So the relievers have been dominant, missing bats, getting big punch outs. And I think, too, you look at the day off Sunday and the day off Thursday, that's going to help them early on because you want to be a little more aggressive and deploy your bullpen early on as starters get built up and get the feel for the season, get the swing of things. So having the bullpen be great has been big. Kirby Yates has looked fantastic. Anthony Bonda. Alex Vesia has had some ups and downs a little bit with some command, but he's looked great. But the only down I would say, the next big takeaway, is Tanner Scott hasn't looked great out of the gates. He's given up runs in both of his last 2 appearances against the Tigers, had the blown save. The velo was down. Dave Roberts did tell us after the game that it's nothing mechanical and that he has 0 concern level. So I wouldn't be concerned about Tanner Scott, but hey, this is your $72 million reliever. He is going to get closing situations at times. But I think what I really like to see from this weekend is I don't want to see the Dodgers go to a full, okay, it's the 9th inning, let's give the ball to the same guy. You guys have been watching this show for years. You guys know my stance on closer by committee. You want to play matchups. You want to optimize your relievers. Sometimes the game can be won or lost in the 6th or 7th or 8th just as much as it can in the 9th. I think that the idea of a closer is one of the most overrated and overblown and kind of archaic baseball things that we've seen. The only thing cool about it is your walk-up song, your walkout song means a little more than it typically would have otherwise. But he did pitch in this one in the series where you want to see the velocity kind of go back up. So I think that to me is kind of the biggest thing. The top of the 9th inning in the 8-5 win, the walk-off win, that was a perfect spot for him, right? But he gives it the leadoff single to Sweeney. Co-batters later, Margot, he singled to left. That tied things up. And then Green, he doubled to right. But you had that fantastic relay. The ball gets into the corner. Teo fields it. You have the relay to Edman. Austin Barnes did a great job making that tag, hit him right on his backside. So he's lucky that they made that play, or else that blown save could have been a loss. So you're going to see the best of Tanner Scott. It's a little early. People are freaking out a little bit about Tanner Scott, but I wouldn't make too much out of that. Next big takeaway, and this is probably the biggest one of this entire thing, is they are really going to slow play Shohei Ohtani. They are really going to slow play Shohei Ohtani on the mound. This is based on what Doc is saying, based on what I've heard, based on what I'm seeing. And Shohei did throw 20 pitches on Saturday, and that was 6 more than he threw all season when it comes to his bullpen sessions. So that's a good thing. But Dave said there's no exact timetable for return. They're going to respect the fact that he's coming back from labrum surgery and what that means for him at the plate. So if you're expecting to see Shohei Ohtani in May, I think that you are going to be disappointed. I think it could be June, middle of June. It doesn't really matter when it is, as long as when he's back, the velocity is there, the movement is there. Because let's not forget, when Shohei Ohtani came back to the mound in 2020 after the first Tommy John surgery, things did not go well at all. Things really did not go well at all for Shohei Ohtani. And you look at how he looked that season in 2020, he really got off to a really, he had a 37.8 ERA in the 2 games that he pitched. And he only went an inning and 2/3, right? He struggled with command. The velocity was down. But what happened when you gave him more time in the following season? From 2021 to 2023, Shohei Ohtani posted a 2.84 ERA, had a 3.23 FIP, was 10th in all of Major League Baseball with a 10.9 FWAR. His 11.39 strikeouts per 9 in that stretch was second in the sport behind just Blake Snell, his teammate now. So the point of this is, when he was sent back earlier with the Angels, wasn't quite as effective. And yes, that was a shortened season, but when he got right, he resumed his role as being one of the best 10 pitchers in the league. So I don't think we're going to see him very quickly here. It is going to be a process. The most important thing is October and not March or April or May or anything like that. But the risk is rushing him back and then he struggles. And then it's this whole process. And then how does that bleed into what he does offensively? But here was Dave Roberts talking about Shohei Ohtani and where he's at with his throwing program and when we can expect to see him back.
It's going to be, it's going to be a while. I think that you start with the natural progression of a bullpen, and you've got to kind of then mix in different pitches to then face hitters again. So it's a startup again. So I don't have a timeline. I don't think anyone does, but we're a ways away.
So be patient with the show, okay? It's going to be the greatest show in baseball when he's back on the mound and he's having 10, 15 strikeout games and hitting 2 home runs. We all want to see that. Yes, we do. But let's remember, with the Angels, Shohei Ohtani was like this regular season circus, right? He was this regular season phenomenon where the Angels, they're not going to sniff the postseason, let alone the World Series. So let's see what he does in the regular season. That's not the case with the Dodgers. Everything has shifted for Shohei. He's the greatest player in baseball because of what he can do on both sides, but all that doesn't matter unless he's winning rings and he's competing at the highest level in October. He's been there, done that. He's been that sideshow, right? That sideshow for the Angels. Now it's about him getting maybe 10 to 12 starts, feeling good about how he looks on the mound, and knowing that if things don't work out this year as a pitcher, you have other starters around him, other guys that are aces that can pitch games 1, 2, 3, and 4 in a postseason series and allow Shohei to do what he does at the plate. I guess the only thing for me about this all is, do the Dodgers go to a 6-man rotation before Shohei Ohtani comes back? I did ask Dave Roberts about Tony Gonsolin and Evan Phillips, and he said that both of them look really, really good. Shohei Ohtani is probably not going to be back in the near future. So what happens if Tony Gonsolin gets fully healthy? What are you going to do, trade him before he even makes a start? What are you going to do, start him at the minors? No. What are you going to do with Dustin May if he pitches well? You going to put him down to the minors? Of course not. You can't. You're not going to do that. You're going to have him make his starts too. Yes, Dustin May profiles more as a bullpen piece than Tony Gonsolin would. And yes, without Shohei Ohtani having his two-way player status, that does kind of limit what your bullpen looks like. But maybe the Dodgers kind of have some flexibility there and go to a more hybrid role with one of their starters or a 6-man rotation even before Shohei Ohtani gets back. Now, next big takeaway, I want to talk about Yamamania. Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He's kind of like the middle child. With Shohei Ohtani and Roki Sasaki. And with the middle child, sometimes you don't talk about them enough. Shohei's the Shohei, the unicorn, the all-time great player. Roki Sasaki is this rookie phenom that everyone thinks has a chance to be the best pitcher in the sport one day. But then there's Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who was a more accomplished pitcher than Roki and Shohei in the NPB. won 3 Sal Moore Awards, which is their equivalent to the Cy Young. He's someone that was elite over there. He's flashed elite talent here, and he's getting better. And I think the start of Yamamania starts this season where he's the most fun pitcher to watch pitch for this team because of his mix. And the big breakthrough for Yamamoto is the strikeout stuff. Last season, he was really good for sure. He was effective when he was out there on the mound, but the punch-out stuff wasn't as elite as it's looked early on. Last year, his rookie year in the show, if you look at his strikeout numbers and where he was at, he had a 10.5 strikeouts per 9. This year, it's at a 12.6 strikeouts per 9 already in just 2 games. He has a 34.1% strikeout rate in his first 2 starts. Those are elite numbers. If he continues to do that, then we could talk about Yamamoto as being the best pitcher on this team and a potential Cy Young winner. And the biggest reason why there's more strikeouts, the punch is higher, more swing and miss, is because of the splitter. Yamamoto struck out a career-high 10 Tiger batters in his start on Friday, gave up 2 home runs, but 10 strikeouts, had 17 swings and misses, and 10 of those 17 swings and misses were via that splitter. The splitter has been explosive for him. The velocity is up. The usage is up. In fact, this season, that splitter has an elite 57.6% whiff rate. He has been fantastic with the swing and miss. The splitter looks great. And after the game, I asked Yoshinobu Yamamoto about that splitter and how it's been even more effective than it was last year and how important of a pitch that is for him. Here's what Yamamoto had to say.
There's no 80 strike. Even more than last year.
今日スプリットが良くて、10奪三振あったんですけども、今年そのスプリットがどういうふうに効果的にピッチングに使われてくるでしょうか。
コントロールの面だったり、その落ち幅だったり、そういったところに、自信を持って投げ込めているので、それがいい結果につながっているかなと思いますし、多少カウントが悪くなっても、しっかりと、腕を振って投げれているので、今年は、去年と比べるとスプリットがすごく、自信を持って投げれているかなという感じです。
So far at this point, I feel like I'm being able to throw my splitter with conviction, and then even though because when I fell behind, because I can do that, and then I think it's going to be a very effective pitch for this year.
So another kind of go to deeper on that, what Yamamoto was saying too, is that he feels the confidence to throw that even when he's behind in the count. So just having that pitch available for him is going to be absolutely breathtaking to watch. Yamamoto could win the Cy Young this season. The swing and miss is elite. I don't think anyone saw this velocity jump with that pitch and the usage up. So it's going to be big time. Next big takeaway. Guys, loaded show today. Going to dip into the minors for a quick second. Ha-Seong Kim. Follow that storyline all season. It's one of the most intriguing storylines because of how it impacts the roster, how it impacts center field, second base, Tommy Edman, Andy Paez, that group. Well, the big question for Ha-Seong Kim is, can he hit big league pitching? If he can, the defense is great. He's going to get an opportunity. And Ha-Seong Kim has made a statement early on with the Oklahoma City Comets. He has been really, really good. He went out there, had 4 RBIs in Oklahoma City's win. He also had a triple. And I think that you look at the swings, he had a 2-run double. He had a triple. The slug has been there. He had a triple down the right field line. And if he's going to have these types of swings and these types of moments, you got to give him his shot. You got to see if he can hit the velocity, because he's not going to see the velocity down to the minor league level that he's going to see in the show. And the guy that he went against, Duran, he was throwing his fastball between 95 and 96 miles per hour. So, I mean, you're looking at for the Dodgers side. So I think that's something that you look at as well, too, is the minor leagues. Carlos Duran had 8 strikeouts, 4 1/3 innings, pumping 96. Ha-Seong Kim having some moments down there. I'm very curious to see when they do bring him up. How my boy Dalton Rushing had an RBI. Alex Freeland. He had 2 hits. He had a walk. But player of the game, 100% for them was Ha-Seong Kim. A double, a triple, had 2 walks, 4 RBIs. If Kim can hit, he's going to stick. So that's going to be something to watch all season long. And then my last big takeaway was the Dodgers were blinging in the new year with, I think, one of the best World Series rings that we've ever seen. Did you guys get a chance to see the Dodgers World Series ring? Because I think it looks great. My prediction was that it was going to be gold, and it wasn't completely gold, but I think I was like kind of right. Some details about the Dodgers World Series ring. You got the LA logo with custom-shaped sapphires that surrounds the diamonds, and circling the logo is a sunburst shape that represents the sunny climate of LA. On the left and right side of the ring, top of the 4 large round diamonds, you got those 4 diamonds there on top, 4 diamonds on the bottom. That symbolizes the Dodgers' 8 World Series titles. And the top and the bottom of the ring, you've got the Dodgers 2024 title and the diamonds there, just diamonds everywhere. Then you open it up. What makes it extra cool is you can open this thing up. And when you do that, you see a Dodger Stadium with the Commissioner's Trophy. You got one big diamond that represents the 2024 World Series win. And then you've got the years 1883 and 2024. So, of course, 1883 is the first year of the Dodgers, then 2024. So think about this. I think what's cool about that is it puts it into perspective how special a World Series championship is. 1883 is when this franchise started. You had names like the Brooklyn Robins, the Brooklyn Bridegrooms, all these different names for this team. Well, they've had 142 seasons, and they've won 8 championships. The Dodgers were 0-7 in the World Series before they won their first title in 1955. The Dodgers had lost 5 fall classics to the Yankees from 1941 to 1953 before winning that World Series title. Like Vince Scully says, nothing ever comes easy for the Dodgers, and it just is another reminder of how special these championships are. Other couple of details, the left side of the inside of it, you've got the piece of the bases, and then you also have the City Connect logo. This one surprised me. It seems like the Dodgers are going to be going with the City Connect logo. That looked really good in gold. But my number one most favorite thing about this World Series ring was encircling the bases are 34 sapphires that pay tribute to the late, great Fernando Valenzuela. So I thought that was a really nice touch. And the left side is the players and the coaches and the recipient and whoever got it, it's their name. So just an incredible ring. I wish I had one in the press box. We got to see up close and personal Evan Phillips's ring. And I can tell you, man, pictures don't do that thing justice. Video doesn't do that thing justice, man. I need to put some sunglasses on to just even look at that thing because it was shining bright. So they did an incredible job. I give it a 10. I think it was better than I even thought it was going to be just because of the details. The gold, I think, looks incredible on it. So, yeah, what did you guys think of that championship ring? I'd be happy with just the giveaway ring they're going to give away. I think that's going to be awesome as well. I wonder how much it's valued at. I had someone tell me it was around $72,000. I'm going to look at more details to see if I can find the exact value of that ring. But an absolutely stunning ring. And the most important thing is what it represents. By the way, I love the picture of Kike Hernandez with the middle finger. I love seeing that. Kike Hernandez with the middle finger to all the Dodgers haters out there. And you know that he doesn't give an F. But coming up next, guys, it's your time to step up to the plate. The 7th inning stretch where we answer all of your questions about your boys in blue.
The 7th inning stretch.
We got Julio Linnaeus. I disagree. Roki should have started in AAA, get him adjusted to the country, baseball, etc. first and bring him up slowly this year. I think he's going to be all right at the end, but still. So I can tell you that there are people that might have thought what you're thinking too, right? And it's definitely a conversation that they did have, but he's Roki Sasaki. The talent was certainly there. He pitched well enough during spring training to, at the very least, have that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make his big league debut in Tokyo. You're never going to get that chance again. So I'm fine with it. I will say if he continues to get rocked, you don't want to mess his confidence up. It's not like he's getting rocked necessarily, he's just not throwing strikes, right? It's not like he's giving up a ton of home runs or anything like that. He's just not throwing strikes. So once the mechanics are in line and the command is there, I think he's going to ball out. So I don't think that should be very last resort. I never want to see Roki Sasaki in an Oklahoma City Comets jersey, ever, at any point. He's that good. Players like that, you keep him up, you let him figure it out. I think he's going to figure it out. So I don't think that he should be sent down. I know that like Dylan Hernandez, LA Times, thinks he should be sent to the minors. I just disagree with that. I think that he's too good of a pitcher talent-wise. And the truth is, from a velocity standpoint, from a hitter's quality standpoint, from a command standpoint, is that really going to get improved in AAA? I don't. I think that the bullpens become more important. The early starts, how he looks in the first or second inning, those become more important. So I'd keep him up. We got Nando 390. My wife also has a torpedo bat in her dresser, FML. Bruh. Yeah, that torpedo bat is just crazy. I'm going to DFA the torpedo bat tomorrow. Actually, you know what? Give the Dodgers the torpedo bat. They'll hit 350 home runs. Justin Lamas, at least he's not like Hollywood Lifestyle who laughs after he grounds out on the first pitch. It's a fire take from Justin Lamas. The Gators show some want to trade Muncy. Others are hoisting a trophy already. 5 games in. Hilarious. Yeah, it's emotional takeaways. It's fine. I'm here for it. I think that's what's great about being a fan is speaking your opinions about this team. And we need a larger sample size to evaluate all these guys, even the guys that are playing well. Metal Rules, what is up? Plot twist, Roki was not crying. He just got through eating a Dodger dog with extra onions. I love that. I tried the new Slugger. I tried the 16 inches. I didn't get all 16 inches. We shared it. Me and a bunch of Dodgers fans. I'm going to be posting that for you guys probably tomorrow. A video for that. Manuel, D-Mac, going on that Mookie Betts diet. I really want to, man, because that guy's got the 2 chefs, bro. Mac and cheese. I heard Nando's wife use it on him when she catches him on the iPad watching Dodgers Nation. All bros today. Aaron Vaughn, but we still haven't seen Evan, Kopech, and Bruzdar yet. Bullpen is insane. Exactly. We've got Rick Knox. Dalton Rushing is D-Mac's doppelganger. Hey, what's up with me and looking like catchers, right? You got Will Smith. You got Dalton Rushing. Pika Peep. Rather not see Ohtani on the mound, period. He's on the other side of 30 now. Time to stop throwing and start swinging. I totally disagree. He wants to pitch. You got to see if he can pitch. The truth of the matter is if all Ohtani does is hit for the rest of his career, he's going to be in the conversation with Willie Mays and Barry Bonds and all these great players. But if he pitches, then it's not a debate. He is the most talented and the best player ever. And I think that talent is too high to go to waste. I 100% disagree. He needs to be pitching. We need to experience that for at least 2 or 3 seasons. At least 2 or 3. Then have him just DH. Maybe you could use him as an outfielder potentially, but at least for 2 or 3 seasons, I want to see electric elite Shohei Ohtani on the mound at Dodger Stadium. Paul Gutierrez, D-Mac, when will Kershaw, Ohtani, and Gonsolin pitch this season? Well, Gonsolin, he's not that far away. Dave told me he's going to start a rehab assignment pretty soon, pitch 3 innings. They still don't know where, but he's on the mend. Kersh is throwing. He's facing live hitters already. I would give that a couple of months. Shohei, a month to 2 months. So it depends on how guys look early too. If everyone stays healthy, you don't have to rush them back. That's another factor. But it'll go Gonsolin, and then Shohei and Kersh could be close, but I could see it going Shohei first, then Kershaw, because they don't want to rush him back as well. Mario Torres, thoughts on Glasnow being so far back in the rotation? I'd figure he'd be our number 2. It doesn't matter to him. It doesn't matter to the organization. Everyone knows he's an ace, and it's just how things lined up. And the truth is that if you didn't have the special circumstances of Roki pitching in Tokyo, it would have been Yamamoto and Glasnow going, or Yamamoto and Blake Snell. So that's the truth of it, is that Roki, as a rookie, got that start in game 2, but really Glasnow is a game 1 starter for sure. We've got Paul, D-Mac, what are your thoughts on the Rojas Chisholm drama? Look, I mean, Rojas basically admitted that he did it, essentially, and that's just how baseball is, man. I think that Jazz is right to be pissed. I think Miguel Rojas can do what he wants. I think let's see him duke it out. I don't think anyone's necessarily wrong in that situation. If you look at what Rojas did, that happens in clubhouses. And yeah, you don't like that. You hate that. Any guy getting new shoes and Jordans, getting stuff put in their shoes is not good. But I've heard way worse. I've heard way worse that doesn't get out there. It just kind of happens. But yeah, it wasn't necessarily a malicious thing at the beginning. But I think that was a long time ago in a different era for sure. We'll talk about the torpedo bats tomorrow. I actually did a whole segment on the big lead if you want to go watch that. Gary A., they should have kept Jack for insurance. I don't think so because they just didn't want to pay that. I mean, look at what contract Jack Flaherty signed and the role that he was going to have. You couldn't guarantee him, hey, if everyone starts and you're going to give me 25 to 30 starts. He signed a 2-year deal for $35 million. So 2 years and $35 million with the Dodgers because of the penalties would be a 2-year, $70 million deal for Jack Flaherty. So with the depth that they have, the young starters, it didn't make sense. I will say that Jack Flaherty is absolutely beloved by this team. When he got his ring, you had Kike putting the Dodgers hat on him. You had the number 0 gold jersey. Dave Roberts said to us that he's going to be a friend for life with Jack Flaherty, and he called Jack Flaherty a savior for the 2024 Dodgers. So once a Dodger, always a Dodger. BC, I'm never paying money for food at Dodger Stadium until they have it under 10 to 15 menu. Interesting. I'll tell Stan Cass about that, so he has to say. All right, guys, so running short on time, so let's go to the walk-off.
The walk-off.
And today for the walk-off, I want to say a rest in peace to the legendary Dodgers organist, Nancy B. Heffley. Heffley was the Dodgers organist for 28 seasons from 1988 until she retired in October of 2015. She was the substitute organist for the Angels before she auditioned for the Dodgers job on Valentine's Day of 1988. It was an exhibition game between the Dodgers and USC baseball, and she was absolutely brilliant at her job. She made her first kind of big statement early on when she would play the Master of the House from the Broadway musical Les Miserables for Oral Hershiser. If you know that song, it was always great to see those highlights of him warming up to that. And she was one of the first organists to kind of like take cues from the game and switch things up based on how things went. She told the LA Times in 2004, "I get my cues off the game. One of the funniest times was when a fellow on the other team lost count of the outs. I don't ever do things against our players. He was on first and he thought there were just 2 outs, so he ran to second, then he ran to third. Then everyone's walking off the field and he realized it was the 3rd out. I played We Are Poor Little Lambs Who've Lost Our Way." So she would do these little things, and I think Dieter Ruhl has picked up on those as well. Just a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant organist, and it's sad that she is no longer with us. So RIP Nancy B. Heffley. And if you don't know this, like the Dodgers are one of the few teams that have an organist full time. I mean, all that great stuff you hear from Dieter Ruhl that's traced back to Nancy B. Heffley and everything the Dodgers have done, that's unique in the sport of baseball. So I love that the Dodgers do that. Nancy B. Heffley was an absolute GOAT at her profession, and just want to say RIP to the great Nancy B. Heffley. We know that she'll be watching her Dodgers from Blue Heaven this season. But that's going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. Got my man Noel Sanchez producing today. No camera, no audio, so we'll check in with him tomorrow. But he did an incredible job as always. Also, let me know down below all your takes on the first week at home for the Dodgers, your biggest takeaways, thoughts on Roki Sasaki. Subscribe to the channel, comment Roki of the Year, subscribe to the Discord, subscribe to the Big Lead. But the most important thing is that there's nothing that brings together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.